It is Go Down. We are live from Los Angeles, and we are welcoming in one of my, I guess I could say icons in this game. I've been following your career for so long.
Oh, man. Thank you.
To LA.
Thank you. Did I talk too soon? I'm sorry. I let you intro me. I'm sorry.
I'm talking about Elliott Wilson. What's good, sir? Yeah, we got to announce who it is because we can't assume everybody.
Skee TV, baby.
So, dude, you've been...
I can't believe I'm here, man. In Skee Lodge, man. I seen it on the internet, man.
And now you're you've seen it on your site many times.
On the Rap Radar, I've seen it. I've seen
exactly.
it even before Rap Radar. But
you've been doing this. You've been doing so many things, and you've been able to keep up and stay relevant and actually get a bigger name. Over the years.
Now a lot more focused to me individually. Like a lot of times with XXL, like I was behind the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I told people I changed my business strategy completely. Like when I was doing XXL, like. No one knew what I looked like. I didn't really go to parties. I was talking all this mess. It was like,
I mean, you had. It's funny because you were the one editor that I remember reading all these magazines and stuff that I would ever remember. Because you were the only one that would like go in and really have that personality and voice and not say this generic like opening letter like "Welcome to our page."
Well, that was the challenge. Like, because when you back then, journalism wasn't so high profile. You know what I mean? We're like unsung and not really seen. Mm-hmm. And I had this idea. Okay, if I become editor in chief, like what. This opening letter, this editorial, like, what am I going to say people are going to care about? Like, they don't care. My first attitude was like, they don't care about me. They care about the artist. Like, so what can I say to sort of engage them? And it just came out, well, if I tell them kind of what I'm trying to represent with the magazine, what I want them to connect to, why I chose this person for the cover, what's the bigger mission? And back then it was, to beat the source because the source was considered the best. So to lay it all out there, and if I'm honest to the audience, maybe they'll get connected to me. And it went even further than I thought with the whole YN thing, and then people would just really like go to the editorial first to really kind of
I mean, it set the stage, it set the table for the whole magazine. But where did you get your actual start and stuff? How'd you get in your break in the business?
In '92, I met a brother named Sasha Jenkins, and he had a magazine called Beatdown, independent magazine, and I got down with those guys. He had a partner named Haji. And I got down with them. I became music editor with them, and that's when I started getting free records. As a DJ. My whole
that was the best thing back now. People take it for relevant because you can go download the stuff for free, but getting that stuff for free, especially
and you had to know the labels because the labels had the product. The labels had the product, and like I didn't know about that, and I went going to buy, trying to buy "They Reminisce Over You" and the "Fake and the Funk" remix, and I was at a record store trying to get it, and the dude wouldn't sell it to me, and it was like, why can't I get it? Well, it's a white label. I'm like, what's a white label? I was like, I'll pay $20, pay whatever. Like I got money, like I'll pay. It wouldn't sell to me. He's like, nah, but I go to the record. I got it from the record company. I was like, you got it from the record company, and I was like. Electra Records this and the college promo guy that. So I started lying and saying I was a DJ just to get vinyl. And then when I became a journalist, I started learning about the publicity department who would have the advanced cassette back then. Artists would actually have to give their records to the record label, and they would like.
Well, because remember, it wasn't like nowadays. Like nobody gives out the things early because they're scared that it'll leak. But it used to be, you'd get them months in advance because there wasn't the internet, and you'd hear that because you had to get the reviews in time for the magazine with the lead time.
And then you were able to ask questions. Like so many interviews now, I know it's a challenge for you. It's like a lot of times you can't really talk about the music because artists don't want to reveal the music till it's like out. So it's like a lot of interviews is tough. You can't. So the idea with that was that by the time you did the interview with the artist, you knew the album front and back, and you could ask intelligent questions about the album. That to me is like the center of what I do with Crown. At the end of the day, I'm still talking about like what I felt about Mastermind or what I felt about Schoolboy Q's album when I sit with these guys, and that's where it comes from, like that level of research. So that was the passion and just the love of the music, and from that led to Ego Trip, a company I started with Sasha, and then that led to The Source, which led to Double XL, which now leads to Rap Radar, Respect, Keep It Thorough, The Truth, and Crown.
Wow.
That's it. Crazy. And my laugh. I got to do something with my laugh, man.
Yeah, people love your laugh. You got the infamous laugh,
Skee,
bro.
Your business acumen is incredible, man. I can't tell them I can't trademark my laugh, though. I tried,
I think
man.
you might be able to, man. I think you might be able to. It's so unique. It's different. It is because it's so unique because it has to be different than anything else out there. It's got to be something that nobody else could do, and I don't think anybody else could get that laugh.
Yeah, and I didn't realize I had a laugh until later in my life, but it's exciting, man. But like, I definitely I don't stay stuck in the '90s though. Like, I love that time.
How do you make that transition? Because that's such a tough thing for a lot, especially people that you were in like the old school business and those successful, and you left that early and were kind of ahead. How that's always a risky thing. Anytime there's been jumps that we've taken that's tough for me, but especially leaving the biggest what makes you take it? Always find a way to stay relevant, find the next big thing before it is.
Well, it was tough. I mean, I think social media has been has been a major role in my new phase of my career. What happened was, so after XXL, which there was a mutual.
And you were there real quick. You were there real quick from when you went from being second to the Source to the Source.
Yeah, we did it. We beat them.
To now the Source not being around and stuff. What was that? What was that time and transition like?
That's the thing. The leading a group of people, like had incredible staff and like have that goal. Like, okay.
Because how big when you got it? Do you remember like the circulation numbers? How big, like in comparison, for people that may not know, how much bigger was the Source versus XXL when you started?
You could almost sell close to 500,000 copies on a newsstand.
Okay, and how many was the Source selling? The Source was selling what?
On a good one, it would sell like that or 400,000. No, that's huge, and that would sell more than most music magazines.
And what would XXL sell when you started? When you first took that position?
Like 90,000.
So you were like like 1/5 of what?
And then we started getting in the 300 range and really duking it out because they went down and we went up, and like it would just be those kind of battles. And the MJ50 was the first one where we clearly outsold them on the newsstand, but they went back to beating us for like months after that. So I had this arrogance when I took over the gig that I could beat them in like a year or two, but I didn't really know what it would take.
How do you do that?
It took 5 years.
What did you do? What were your keys to success coming in somewhere like it's just good business acumen? How did you actually come in and take over the market leader? And somebody that was so established, because at the time the Source was the Bible. It wasn't just like the market leader. It was like that was it.
Was just passion and insight and leading a group of people. And like when I started seeing the way things were, like you said, culture was shifting. Walking by the office and everybody's playing 50 Cent, and he only has mixtapes out. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, we all love this 50 Cent thing. Like, let's do a story on 50 Cent, and like let's not act like a lot of magazines put things in categories and say we got to do a new artist thing on a person. It's only going to be 1 page or 2 pages. I'm like, let's get 50 Cent and give him fucking 10 pages. Like, there's nothing to stop us. Like,
and that's
so
what
I think that was the thing of like, as we started seeing things shift in the culture, we were able to grab on it and present it in new ways that seem innovative and not really sticking by those old rules. I'm like, fuck the old rules. Like, I'm gonna go for that. So that's really what it came down to. And then just the hard work and dedication of the team. But like you saying, going back to your earlier question, it's easy to motivate a group of people to say, well, we're going to get them and they're the enemy and they're on top of the mountain. We're going to go up to the mountain. We're going to beat them. The hardest part is once you do that, then it's like, okay, now you beat them. What are you going to do? We're going to stay on top and we're going to reign. Like, that's not as sexy. Like, that's the hard part. You got to defend the title. Like, it's, Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson, but he didn't defend the title. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to defend the title.
And everybody always roots for the underdog, and then everybody loves to see a good comeback story. So when you left it, what made you want to get well,
I took to social media stuff? And like I just was lost in the moment. I was like, okay, what's MySpace? I asked my little brother, what's MySpace? MySpace was still popping. This is like 08.
Yeah, man.
And Facebook. And
which seems like so long ago, but it's really not. When you
so I started making MySpace pages, and I like Facebook more, and I made 5,000 friends on Facebook because that was the limit to like have a readership, I felt, or like a group of people. And then my wife told me about Twitter, and Twitter ended up being a real game changer. Like, I joined in like 08. She put me on. She made me join it. And Rap Radar's success a lot of times was connected to the embracement of Twitter by hip hop. Yeah. So a lot of artists were joining Twitter, and like we would get all our link backs and our traffic from Twitter. That's why I'm so dominant on Twitter and now Instagram, because like that's really been the bread and butter of a lot of my success of documenting the culture through those social mediums. And like, that really was like parallel to us, because a lot of times they didn't really embrace Rap Radar, the other sites, because we was like, I was already established. So it's like, what are you doing in our world, old guy? Like, why?
What made you want to start?
We're not gonna link back to you.
What made you want to start?
Old man, you already won. Why are you here with us?
Yeah, no, it's a
Get
little
away.
bit of new age. What made you want to start Rap Radar? And what was your vision behind Rap Radar when you started? What was your goal?
Well, Paul Rosenberg stepped to me, and he felt like my voice was missing, and like we could do a site with a real strong point of view, and there were good sites out there, but there wasn't any person really like at the forefront of the culture. Like, this is the guy from the site. And I decided, to not do the anonymous thing, but to really put myself out there more. And like social media also validated that. So
and that's why I think you've been so successful with it, because you've been able to go on Twitter and Instagram, and people know that it's a voice. You're the curator. Like, that's what it's about now, because there's so many stories, so much music to choose from. But
songs can come out any time of day. Rappers can be in the studio anytime. People, the artists themselves shoot content out constantly, 24/7. And like I saw no one was really like grabbing it and trying to make sense of it and put it in one place. So, if you go to Rap Radar, you have one experience as a hip hop fan. If you follow me on Twitter, that's one experience. If you follow me on Instagram, you read some of the other, magazine Respect, or do other things that I do, watch the Crown interviews. Yeah. You have different experiences of the culture, but I think that I'd rather stay at the forefront. And I do think it helps strengthen Rap Radar. So that's always been my goal, because that's my baby.
What's your vision on where print is right now? Is it a dying breed? Is it going to still survive?
It's tough. I think the days of putting out like a magazine 10, 12 times a year, like that's not a good business model. But I think that magazines have to feel special, come out quarterly or bi-monthly, be presented well, like innovative ways to do it. Me and my wife are working on a project called Hardcover that we're going to launch soon. It kind of encompasses that.
You're doing something else, bro? Like,
yeah, I know. I like creating new shit, Skee. Come on, man.
That's the funnest
you
part, right?
You got a multimedia empire up here, man. You got, you making dolls downstairs. There's 8 million things going on, man. There's marketing. There's making beats. There's a guy making beats. There's guys making Skee.
Hey, we do it all, bro.
Hoodies. No, it makes you when you create work, it inspires you. You know, guys like me and you, when we do hard work.
That's my favorite thing. I love starting something new.
Yeah, starting something new and going for it. And as you create, it makes you want to create more things. So you're not just defined by this one thing. Like if I didn't want to just be the double XL guy, I had to do dope shit. And so now like people that now I don't have to do a whole. I'm not talking about XXL with you because of our history, but I can do interviews now and I don't have to talk about XXL all day. That's my only value system.
People don't know you as XXL. Like like everybody.
I'm saying YN. They're like YN. What's that? I'm like YN at rapradar.com. Like that's one of my emails. YN. Yeah, yellow nigga. And they start laughing. Like they've never heard it.
That's crazy.
I'd be assuming like everybody knows. I'm like, no, it's Elliott Wilson. No,
and it was Elliott from Rap Radar. Now it's Elliott Wilson from Crown. So what made you want to start this whole series? And what's different about Crown from a typical artist interview? What would you break down? Because
Crown is scary because it's live, and like the original idea came from at South by Southwest. I did Kendrick Lamar at the time. Coming off the victory lap of Good Kid. This was last South by, not this past one. And I just noticed that the crowd had good energy, and I was like, this doesn't feel like a boring panel. Like, we've done panels, like, they get real stiff, and it's real boring, and, like, I was like, these kids aren't looking at me like this is a panel. This is, like an experience for them. Like, they can't believe Kendrick Lamar is this close. They're witnessing a conversation that's engaging them. It's journalism brought to life. It's the cover story brought to life. I was like, I think I have something here. Like, I see, I thought, like, to myself, boom, like, look at hip-hop's new generation. Tyler, J. Cole, Drake, Wale, these guys were like bubbling and they had albums coming out soon. And I was like, I think I could sell this. I think I could sell tickets and people would pay money to watch me talk to their favorite artists and I can create a great experience from it. So we started with Tyler and that was a scary experience because I knew the one great thing about Tyler, and I love Tyler, is that he's a relentless promoter and marketer like me and like you. Yeah. Like he's gonna sell the shit.
He's a little crazier than both of us.
Yeah, he's gonna put the ticket link up, like go see my shit, go to this shit. Like go, it's like fucking inside the actor studio, go to it. So he hyped it up, I hyped it up, and it sold out real fast. And I'm like, oh shit, like people are paying money to watch an interview, like to not, no performance. Like he's not gonna rap. Right? New rules. And then we did it, and it was scary because when we first got on stage, like the fans are so rowdy, and it's like he doesn't know what this is gonna be, and they're throwing like cereal at him and bacon and shit, and I'm like, yo, can we settle down? Can we get an interview going?
Bacon at him.
Because he loves bacon.
Yeah, dude.
And then it's just been a great experience from there, and everyone has been its own unique experience. I mean, a lot of people love this Wayne one.
The Wayne one was epic. Yeah, what was it like connected with Wayne? Because that kind of came out. You announced it kind of last second stuff. Yeah. So
let me tell you, this whole 2014. Like, here's the thing that was
really, just like,
I'm gonna break it down for you. Like, I haven't really broke this down to anybody. This is a Skee TV exclusive.
There we go.
So I do this Drake Crown in September, right? Yeah. It's fucking perfect timing. He's the #1 rapper. I get him on the eve of fucking Nothing Was the Same. It's a fucking home run. It's walk off the park, walk off home run. And I can't book anybody after. Like, I'm struggling to book anybody. I can't get anybody.
It's
like
how that goes,
for the rest of the year, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, but everyone's thinking Crown's the hottest thing, and I got kids hitting me on Twitter all day. Yo, get Kanye, get Eminem. What are you doing?
Get Obama.
I'm turning it down, right? So I can't book any of these guys for whatever reason. Everyone has its own story about why it hasn't been booked yet. And I say yet because it's always no until it turns to yes.
Yes.
So, but then R. Kelly came along. And I never met R. Kelly. R. Kelly has a rich story. Obviously, it's not necessarily the same idea originally of what I did with Crown, but he's a legend. He's an icon. He was willing to sit down as Kells, like he defined culture. And nobody gives these artists their due. Like, just if you take away all the personal shit and the drama, no one's dealing with this guy's,
the best.
He's a Hall of Famer. So I'm like, here's a guy that's going to be a challenge for me because I've never met him. I'm going to sit down with him. I'm going to go for it. But MySpace, one of my partners in this, I have watched Loud Electus and MySpace as partners on Crown. They brought me R. Kelly. Like, they had the guy, R. Kelly wants to do it. So we did that in December. So mind you, I still haven't booked a rapper. So now this is coming off Drake. We're in January, I can't book a rapper. We're in February, I can't book a rapper. Finally in March, people ask like, why did I do this shit boom, boom, boom? Because I finally got a call from Dave.
Yeah.
Time to do Schoolboy Q. Yeah. If I could do it in New York on this open date because something fell through.
Crazy.
And so that was on a Monday, and we did it that Friday. And then we did Ross the next Tuesday, and then we did Lil Wayne the following Friday.
Crazy.
So I did 3 of them in like 14 days.
Wow.
But they were all booked like in that way. I was supposed to do
crazy.
Wayne last year with Cortez because he had a book coming out, but it didn't work out. But you know how it is. Like, it's not easy. Everybody thinks because we have these relationships.
Oh, but dude, people are
with
like,
artists
you got a TV show, it's easy. I'm like, bro, you don't even know.
Booking is hard. And artists do so much now. Like, artists do all these outlets now. And that's the thing that we challenge ourselves to do is like.
And how do we do something different too? Because like when you get the artists, like even with our TV show and stuff too, like we want to do it different with a live band and have them like when artists come up, I'm like, yo, you don't have to perform the single, perform like the dopest album cuts.
What can we do to make it distinctive? And I mean, to me, like I was saying earlier, I just think that I try to really do my research, like school and like, really.
That's a key part.
Really listen to the album. Like really the one-on-one journalism shit that kind of gets lost in it. Like I want to ask the right question from the album. That maybe other interviewers haven't asked. Like, they didn't catch that line. Like, when I interviewed Jay-Z for The Truth, he had that line about Belafonte and how he's offended by Harry Belafonte. Yeah. And that was like Nickels and Dimes, which was like the last song on Magna Carta. So no one's really asking about that. But I know Jay-Z, too. I know that he meant that. And that means something to him, and that's important to him. So that leads to that. And it led to, at the same time, sometimes then you just have great luck, too, because I wanted to ask him about Trayvon Martin, and that day President Obama had made a statement, so it was perfect timing to like ask him.
It always comes together,
everything
right?
comes together. Like you work so hard, and then the breaks go your way if you're on the right path. So it's really that research, man. And then what we have an advantage too, Skee, is that artists respect us and we have relationships. So it's like I think that people are like, why are your interviews so good or like whatever. Like you just sit there and they open up to you. It's like the Oprah thing. Like they're giving you all this. Like what are you doing so great? Well, I did a lot of work in this motherfucking business. I've been in this 20 years. Like I put my work in. Like I'm not coming from a perspective of like you got to kiss the ring. It's like I want to talk about the now with you right now and let's figure this shit out. And I come with that positive attitude. And it's like I'm gonna get that reward. But so Wayne was the same thing to go to Lil Wayne now. I never met Lil Wayne. Like all these years,
that was kind of that's
putting
my
him
next
on like
question.
87 magazine covers. Like I've never met him. So
he's kind of that enigma. That's why when you pulled Wayne, I was like, wow. Like,
because you don't see Wayne, and
like, he doesn't do like, dude, we're up with kids. He doesn't do like Ryan Seacrest morning show. He doesn't because he doesn't want to wake up. Like the motherfuckers, like he won't do anything. Like he
may not show up either.
He won't.
Yeah.
No, they know.
Plenty of award shows he hasn't shown up. Him and Drake too. Like those guys, they may not show up.
Yeah.
Like they're not into the bill. I was saying Cortez like, are you here? We're here.
Yeah.
I'm
with that Wayne one, you never know what's gonna happen until it's like.
And he got there early. He was backstage early.
It's crazy.
I was like, this is insane. And like I went backstage and I'm fucking shook. Like that's the thing too. I'm nervous as fuck with this crown shit.
Are you nervous?
Nervous.
You don't seem
as
like
fuck.
you ever get nervous.
Yeah, no, I play it off well. The fact that Crown is live and the whole shit, and I didn't know I have no rapport with him. Yeah. Like I have rapport with Drake or Cole or Wale, like, but I had no rapport with R. Kelly, no rapport with Lil Wayne. So I went backstage. I greeted him. We do a whole thing where we shoot each other, like meeting each other and having small talk. So we do that. And I asked him a question about his fans, and he kind of jumped to it, and he just seemed real clear-eyed. And I'm like, wow, I think he might be ready to talk. Like, this might be, I feel a little better. This might be something like he's ready to.
Yeah, you're not gonna, because we've all had the interviews where it's like,
and Wayne's always gonna, Wayne's been a star since he was a kid. So those kind of guys, they like to break your balls every once in a while. So I was like, I knew it was gonna be a point in the interview where he's gonna get slick with me or say something. But so he clowns me at points in the interview, but it's playful and it's like I didn't lose his attention, like, and he still was respectful of it and like still locked in the moment. So I think that's why we got great results. A lot of people feel like that might be the best one.
It was incredible. Now speaking of interviews and stuff, what's your approach? Because you just said a key thing that I really preach and believe in is research and stuff with all that. But I talk to other people and they're like, man, I don't like knowing any, like I've done interviews like, I'm not going to talk to you and I don't want to know anything about you. So then I come off as the average person.
I don't think that works in hip hop. I think the more you can treat these people like,
because I want to know about everything.
I mean, treat us. I'm saying these people like they're animals. I'm not a rapper. That's why I'm saying these people. The more you can treat us and our culture, because I think we still fight for our culture getting that respect. Like these guys are musicians. Lil Wayne's a musician. Like whatever standard or whatever you're judging it by, I think sometimes we try to like look at us all like a bunch of rappers and a bunch of beat makers. And like these are like, these are artists and these are producers and musicians. And I think that you show that by really listening to their art. And now today I look like you put so much music out, right? Like there's like my man Andre helps me out. He's here. He says like I have him like send me like the week of music almost. Like if I haven't downloaded it, like you got to keep up.
It's even tough for us to keep up.
Yeah, bro. It's like so he said he thinks there's about 45 to 70 songs that come out a week. and about 2 to 5 mixtapes or projects come out on average. So that's mind-boggling, right? And then only a small percent of that is fucking good. You know, good enough for you to play, good enough that's really going to impact culture.
The tough enough is finding all that stuff. Like, so what advice would you give to artists? Because it's a key thing. Everybody wants to. How do you get noticed in this day and age?
I think you should stop drawing out 8 million songs. Like, I think you should take more time making one record than giving us your 7th mixtape if nothing's connected. Like, I think that there's no rush. I think that people feel this need of like, they want the quick clarification, the quick notification. Like, everybody's looking at me. I'm on this site. I'm on that site, and then everybody's
but if it doesn't lead to anything,
and then 2 months later I'll put out another project, and it's like,
what's the point?
You rather make that one record. You know, you make the fucking Type Away record. You make the Stoner record. You make the one record that impacts people, and I think that's what's more important about the situation. You know, like, that you take more time to make one record than try to just throw everything out and just hope something connects. Like, there's too many people just firing and like hoping we pick the one. Like, Skee, you'll pick it out. Skee, you'll find
the funniest thing is people come to us. I'm sure
Skee, I got so many hot joints. I don't know what's good. I don't know what's gonna hit. Yo, Skee, you just take it.
The worst is you get the artists that send you things like every week. I'm like, yo, focus on one. But people think too like that we have the power.
The third verse of that shit before you send me like 3 more songs. Like,
the worst is people think we have the power. Like, if we put something up, it's gonna blow up. I'm like,
no, I don't make nothing hot.
If I had that much power, I'd sign every artist in the world and just put them out.
We make things hotter. That's the thing. We elevate things. Like, we'll help make it bigger, but we can't. We're not your entry point. We can't make it something. The people make it something, and the people will tell you. Like, that's the great thing about social media now too, is that you know right away when you put out a song, did it connect or not? Yeah. You know, 100%. Is it a hit or miss off top? And then some things, grow with you more. But at the end of the day, you know right away if that was the right move or if you really impacted culture with that record. Yeah. Like, like when Electronica and Jay-Z put out that record the other day. It's like, that's impacting culture.
What'd you think of that record too with Hove and Drake going at it? That's great, right? I think it's exciting.
It's a little exciting, yeah.
Yeah, just people, it's fun. I don't think it's anything serious.
Nah, he tapped him. I mean, that's hip hop. I think he did it in a respectful way, but it's the elder to the young boy. He tapped him a little, but I also think the bigger message that's getting lost, obviously, is Jay Electronica and Jay-Z, trying to encourage him, like, yo, share your gift. Yeah, share your gift. Jay Electronica is a very talented dude, but something's holding him back from putting his shit out. Yeah. And still Jay-Z's standing by him and saying, look, man, you're special. Like, you're different than all these other artists. If you want to put your record out this year, next year, 2 years from now, I'm here with you right now, like, and encourage this guy to really like share his gifts, and then we get a different side of Jay-Z when he makes records with Jay Electronica. He's talking about 5% shit and like different things that he's experienced or different observations he's had on life, and he approaches lyrics and songs from a different way because he's making a record with somebody. I think that's what we like about Jay-Z. Like when Jay-Z got on the record with like Talib Kweli or with Dead Prez, like he could get into their lane and do what they do too, and like show you his versatility that. He's not just making Empire State of Mind records, that he can make those type of records.
He's always been a master at hopping on whatever's hot and getting with whatever producer is dope and staying. That's why he stayed relevant
and capturing that aesthetic, like Juvenile High, like those type of records.
Yeah, people forget about that back in the day. Like, I mean, that's why Jay is, I think, the greatest in hip hop ever.
Say it again, Skee. Say it again.
The greast. Like, is there any denying that?
No, but let's talk about that point. I think Drake is the best right now.
Drake is the best right now. I agree with that. So. But in terms
that's
of
what's ultimately
about
Jay kind of trying to spank him a little bit. Like, I think that's what's ultimately.
That's what you gotta love. But seriously, like in terms of that debate, I mean, we're gonna get hated on and all this stuff because you're gonna get the Tupac.
I don't think it's a debate anymore.
I don't think there is just because of impact. I mean, look at what just look at what on the business side that these guys have done and the impact and how many careers. And
Biggie and Puffy is one. This guy's the businessman and he's the artist. Like, what are you gonna do?
It's incredible. Speaking of that, Truth. When's that coming? I know you did that with Jay, man. We gonna see any more of that, dude?
Yeah, we had to get that right. We're about to launch it. That's part of why I'm out here. Look at Skee getting all these exclusives, man. That's part of why I'm out here, man. We're gonna relaunch it out here because you West Coast guys is winning right now with this hip hop thing. What's going on, man?
I know, it's a great feeling, dude. It's funny because like
DJ Mustard on the beat, ho. Like this is hot out here, man.
It's funny because we had such a long run where there was nothing, and if anything popped, it would all be from like the Dre or NWA family.
You got the new generation now, these young boys.
We got a whole bunch of kids. And
I mean, YG's been putting in his work, but to the world, like,
dude, all of them. And you look at him, and there's so much. I mean, everything. And even if the thing is, even if the artist isn't from out here, they live out here now. So the West Coast, like Wiz is in the club, Diddy's in the like when Diddy moved, in LA, you see him in the club every night rocking. Like Diddy will come up and ask for the Problem record to be when I'm in the DJ booth and stuff. And
but it's also to me like as DJ, like it's okay to have these regional, like it's a West Coast sound. Like when I hear Dom Kennedy, I hear those kind of records. I don't think that represents you. Like that gives me a feel of what your life is like out there. When I hear Nipsey, I feel Crenshaw. I understand your side of the globe, and it's like I want music that sometimes represents that. I think we went into this whole thing where it's like when in the 90s, it was like, okay, we always say boom bap, but the boom bap, like the beat miners and the snares and all that. So like East Coast, we got to bring that boom bap back. That's a certain sound. And in the West Coast, we would ride with Dre and Warren G and like that kind of smooth rider kind of music. And like what I like about these West Coast hits is that they sound like West Coast records. And like I want to feel what that's like. And a new generation,
it's not just like the typical like Dre record that people are trying to.
But I like that sounds like West Coast hip hop. Yeah. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like we went through this whole phase where it's like that beat could sound like it come from Atlanta, it could come from New York. Yeah. Like I think that Mustard represents the West Coast sound of today, 100%. And I think that's great. And there's other talented producers and like
League of Stars. There's so much good stuff. What's the status of stuff in New York, man? What's up with New York hip hop right now?
I mean, we're bubbling. Troy Ave, he's on the verge of a lot of great things, and I mean, the veterans are still hanging in. But I just feel like at the end of the day, it's like I don't want it to be that. Like I'm joking about West Coast. It's just really about good hip hop at the end of the day. True. And I think at the end of the day, it's like what we should celebrate though. If the to me, it's about like making the records right now that really impact culture. Mm-hmm. Because we could all rely on our histories, but it still relies on challenging right now and capturing that moment. And whether that's Atlanta, whether that's New York, or whether that's out west, that's really what you're trying to do. Because we respect the history and classics are eternal and always relevant. But you got to create those records now. And I think that sometimes with East Coast MCs, we still have that issue of something holding us back of trying to make the big record. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Like you can make that hardcore B-side. Like, we grew up in that era. Like, give me that B-side. Give me that hardcore B-side. But yeah, give me that big A-side too. Like, there's nothing wrong with making a big record, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not any less authentic. Like,
that's true.
Check the Rhyme was a fucking, a street record to me, but it's a A-side.
Yeah.
It's not a B-side. And like you want to make records that are going to be part of that DJ classic set. You want to make a record that DJ C is going to play 10 years from now. So I think that's our challenge across the board in hip hop.
True. Now, what's your thoughts on the status of just like the music business as a whole? Do you think the streaming stuff is the future where we're at? Do you think selling music is done for? What do you think music goes as a business?
I think that it's still relying on curators. I think that's why Beats Music approach was smart in a lot of ways to like really champion that. I think that we went through that phase of like the Napster and now you can get so much for free. So now you can really just choose what you're going to really support.
So now there's so much stuff out there.
But now there's so much stuff out there. It's swung back to us that people want to know. Well,
the bloggers have taken over the place. What the bloggers have taken. That's why we were so big on getting on the internet early, and we're lucky to get on one of the first YouTube pages. So we're at like the 250 million views and things now. But like it's so important because now DJs don't even break records. It's bloggers. Like bloggers are the new DJs in a weird way.
Well, they want trusted curators, whether it's a DJ, whether it's a blogger, whether it's the people want to know. People will find the people that they respect.
Yeah.
They have access to all the information, and they're gonna pick, and they're gonna want to know what we like, and that means a lot. So that's why these artists want our cosign. But you have to earn that to get to that point. But at the end of the day, it's like I think that because everything's out there now, we thought, well, now the public's so empowered that they could just get everything. They don't need us. But it's swung back around that they need us even more because 100%. They have so many choices, and it's like it's overwhelming. So it's like you want to know what trusted curators or trusted voices believe in. It helps you shape your opinion. And then you're going to go contrary and like things that other people don't like. And it's still about discovery, right? Yeah. You always want to be the first one above your friends.
I mean, that's what I think. I think consumers like saying that too. To me, I always tell artists, make your fans feel like they're the first to discover you because that's a powerful tool. Like, I knew Kendrick way back.
And you see that at those shows. You see the J. Cole shows. And you see the J. Cole show that was at that. That's the part I think the best part of how the business has changed and like, economically, we took a big hit, but I think that organic part of it is the most rewarding of seeing that.
And you don't have to be. You can be from North Carolina. You don't have to be from New York, LA, from one of the top two markets to succeed. You're seeing people from all over.
And I think the fans get a chance now to have a closer relationship with the artists than they ever had. And I think the artists go out of their way to do more for the fans than they used to.
But how much of that does the artist need to keep private? Like Wayne's a perfect example. Like he's still an enigma. Some artists come on and go on their social media and talk to know those guys that send too many tweets that sound dumb, and they lose that. And you're like,
I think you just have to turn your voice down and listen to the people. If it's overexposure and you're doing too much, they're gonna tell you you're doing too much. Like, dog, your tweets is whack. You're under too long. Like, nobody wants to see your third trailer of your video. Just put the shit out.
Yeah,
like
dude.
the people tell you. Man. Like, so to me, it's just about adapting. Once people tell you and give you the feedback, how do you adapt to that? I think like that's the thing about. I think sometimes even with like the millennials, they say like the new generation. Everything isn't planned out. I didn't think like XXL and I'm gonna do. You just get on the path and then you make these adjustments. You have to make decisions, and then when things don't go in your favor, what's the next decision, and stay on different, building different paths. And I think that's part of it. You have to be able to adapt, and I think that, like you said, it's a fine line. you have to put yourself out there, but you can't overexpose yourself, you know, and that's the balance.
100%. Now, what are you listening to right now? Any new artists that really have your ear that we might not be familiar?
Question, I never know that.
Right? That's why, dude, I do too. That's why I'm asking you that, bro. I'm trying to discover. I'm trying to curate and figure out. All right, we'll go back. What's your favorite album ever?
Oh my God.
I can't ever answer that question, by the way, either.
No, I answered it. It's a weird thing. My personal favorite album, I always say this is Wu-Tang Forever because it's such a sprawl.
Which disc could you like better? I'm gonna make you narrow it down.
This too, of course. This too.
Which starts off with It's Yours.
No, but
right?
I've created my own sequence. Like that's the thing is like it's a puzzle to me. Like I've made my own version of it. Like I know all the words to it. No, because also it's a great album, but at the time
the impact
was great. But also the mission was to beat Bad Boy and kill that movement. And so it failed by those standards. Yeah. So it's a failure in a sense. But it's not a failure. It's a triumph, literally, like the fucking song. Yeah. And it's just a great record.
Rolling Stone, crazy shit.
But I always have that thing where, like, I think the fun debate with me is, like, I think the album that people always champion as the album is not the album I like as much as the other album. Like, I like Wu-Tang Forever better than Enter the Wu-Tang. But obviously, I recognize Enter the Wu-Tang is the album that represents Wu-Tang, right? And it's a classic and it's like 5 stars.
Blueprint versus Reasonable Doubt, if you're going
Yeah, I like Blueprint over Reasonable Doubt. And me and Jay-Z have had that debate many times. And, like, but I look at the kids now, they like, it was written over Illmatic, and like, I don't understand that. Like, I like it. I've learned to like It Was Written, but we all hated It Was Written at the time.
Dude, it didn't
because
do much.
Nas went that way. So it's like, so a lot of times that's the fun debate about like with artists, like people love Dedication 2 by Lil Wayne. I love Dedication 1. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they're both great, but it's like,
well, it's funny that everybody feels like they have to compare them. Like, why can't they all just be good? Like, there doesn't have to be.
I think a lot of times our artists make more than one great body of work, and we try to find the one body of work. Like, you know, no one's made more than Jay, but like a lot of artists have made 2 or 3 to 4 bodies of great work, like T.I.'s and those kind of guys, and
sleep on him
you know,
so
Kanye's, and that's the standard too. Like Outkast, like these guys have made multiple classics, so it's like, and then the mixtape market too. Like I know it's something you was there from day one. If you look at that. That's also doesn't get celebrated enough. That's part of artists' discographies. Like those are albums. Like there's nothing really different.
A lot of them are better because there's no filter. There's no filter.
The way like people loved Wiz Taylor All the Dice over the last album. You know, like that's just what it is.
It's kind of crazy. What's your thoughts real quick? I'll let you get out of here. I know you got a million other projects and stuff to do. What's your thoughts on
I gotta go with Mike. Your homie Mike, man. We're gonna go stick these clothing lines up, man.
Yeah, dude.
They said Wine's not getting enough free gear out here, man. We're gonna go on the strip.
We get you hooked up. We'll get you hooked up in LA.
Shake you down, man.
We're coming LA. We're coming to LA now. What do you think where hip hop is as a culture and where it's moving?
I'm
is
excited,
it in a good place?
Man. Yeah, I think we had. You know what? We had a great year last year. Everyone was undisputedly saying we had all this great music. It's a great year. And I think people were kind of weary of this year, but like right now, like I think Ross put out a strong album. Schoolboy Q, YG, like Pharrell's out here singing his ass off and making hits. Like,
and
so
it's crazy,
we had a great little
artists,
start. We had a great start.
Artists are bigger, as big as like, you know, we always say this, and even with the TV show, they're like, oh, you got to book more other artists beyond just hip hop. I'm like, look, hip hop guys are the stars, because even when you get a rock band, nobody knows. Like nowadays,
we said that. Yeah,
those
they're not stars. We're the pop stars.
Even if they're not selling as many records as say an Imagine Dragons, you go, the average person wouldn't recognize. No disrespect to them at all, because it's a great band, but 2 Chainz or Big Shot, like these guys are more well known as a face and his figures that like hip hop guys.
But see,
are
I also
rock
think
stars.
I think it's because of our adaptability. Like you said, you jumped on YouTube early, right? Yeah. You know, someone like me, I jumped on Twitter early and helped building what I'm building. And I always use Rick Ross as an example. To me, Rick Ross best utilized the internet and social media than any other artist as part of his ascension to like 100%. Being bigger. Like his validation didn't come from being platinum, double platinum, triple platinum. All his shit is gold. You know, and he's been consistent.
Yeah, people don't realize
he's made the
when you think of Ross.
And it's like Ross has risen because Ross is such a strong presence through the internet and through social media. And these things, I've seen him. He's on Twitter. He's on Rap Radar. He's on World Star. Like he's in it. He does it himself. Like a lot of it, and also making those videos with Dre and Spiff and his team of like back then being so innovative with their videos they were making, you know, launching that whole era of like the trailers and that whole type of thing.
Everything led to something else to it. There was strategy behind it. It was like, this is promoting this, which is promoting this. It wasn't just like, oh, let's throw it out.
Yeah, and it worked in his favor. So it's really that adaptability. And I think that's why. But that's my point is that then Rick Ross becomes like a star. Like he's a star. Like and more than a rock guy. Maybe has bigger hits. It's like they walk in the room. Rick Ross is the icon. So like that's
plus he's put out successful artists, and that's one thing a lot of artists always struggle with. And that's why I would say Dre is so big. Dre is so big because M's the biggest artist in the world,
Eminem,
and 50, and they sold
to have an Eminem and then to have 50 Cent,
and those sold more records than Dre ever did. But because of that, Dre is bigger than both of them. You know,
that's why I think a lot of the Crown I did with Ross was about Wale and Meek and him sort of wanting his props for that and how much, you know, and Wayne too, Wayne with Nicki and Drake, and it's like the understanding that a lot of times before rappers' egos would get in the way, and it's hard to understand that, and but at the end of the day now, it does strengthen you. Cash Money's redefined themselves as YMCMB because they were able to they went from remember they would not do outside records, and that was always a big deal. Right? They wouldn't go with anybody. And they wouldn't go outside their camp and that certain sound. And now it's you got a Jewish kid from Toronto and you got this sassy girl from Queens.
It's so crazy. And that shows how much we've evolved as a culture. Literally, when you look at a Jewish kid who played a handicapped character in a kid's TV show, and he makes the best music in the world right now.
No, he is. He's the best right now.
It's incredible. What do you want to be remembered as, Tim? What are you going to be doing next, Elliott? What's your legacy? You've got so much stuff. What do you want your legacy to be in at the end of the day when you're all done? I'm not going to say when you're retired. I'm going to say, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say when you're dead because you're never going to retire.
Yeah, I'm not dying either.
I know, that's what I'm saying. What are people going to look back, whatever, 100 years from now?
You know what's funny? One more thing to go back to Jay so everybody could be he's always talking about Jay. No, but I was supposed to do this unauthorized book on Jay-Z's life, this biography, which I ended up not doing. But I was looking back on it, if I would have did that book would have been done before he even married Beyonce. This is before the Roc Nation deal happened. This is that area before that. And look at all that's happened since then. He became a father, all these things. So my challenge to me is I look at it as an example. I'm just gonna keep doing shit so that way I don't have to look at it from this historical overall thing. But I respect it all. I can sit here and talk about XXL with you for 45 minutes, but at the same day, I don't want it to define me. So I'm just gonna keep creating new shit, and then
new chapter.
I'll let other people figure it out. But in that one day on Twitter, I got bored and I just said I was the GOAT because I was I feel like people were making lists of the top this and top sites, and Rap Radar wasn't getting credit and nobody was saying who's the best. So I'm putting a challenge out. I think I'm the best. If I'm not the best, who's the best? And
I agree.
I'm gonna keep challenging the landscape to prove it. And I think it still inspires I know for a fact it inspires a Rob Markman and people, a Bonsu Thompson, a B-Dot who works with me. It inspires people that I'm cool with that are talented in their own right. Yeah. So it's not a negative to the game. It's a positive. So
I feel the same way in my lane. So
no doubt.
Let's get it in. Thank you so much for finally stopping through the Skee Lodge, man. You're welcome anytime. Rap Radar, Crown. What else am I forgetting? What else you want to make?
Rap Radar, Respect. The Truth is coming back real soon.
I can't wait for that.
On Jay-Z's Life and Times.
How soon?
We're filming. We're filming
okay.
I'm filming one.
I'm
filming one Friday and one on Saturday. So,
okay. Can't wait to see that. Shout out to Matt from San Diego.
I got to bring I got radio too, man. I got this Keep It Thorough thing. I got to bring it back, man. I'm trying to find a new home for that.
No, we're gonna. I got something for you. Do not go in. We're gonna go talk off the air. We're live from Los Angeles.
My checkbook.
Shout out to After School All Stars, Matt in the building too from San Diego. We are out of here.
Wire transfer, Skee.
Done.